Hey, you guys, we want to welcome you today, and it is going to be a super awesome quick time here. We're not going to take a lot of your time, but it is so special because we are talking about a passion project we have been working on for several months. It is a book called The Fourfold Formula for All Things Wellness, true stories about the heart and spirit and mind and body. And it is a book that I am writing with Dr. Markus Wettstein, who is an amazing human being, endocrinologist, and we decided to play along with 30 authors who are putting 2,000-ish words of their stories into this book. This is book 1 of 3. So this is the first book. We're hoping to launch it this summer. And in the room right now, if you're walking on a path, you can't see them. But if you're watching, you see 3 people. We have Faith and Cyndi and Rachel with us. They are 3 of the authors. And we're going to tease the hell out of you right now because we are going to actually read, myself included, about 200, 250-ish words of the stories that we're going to have published in this book. Hi, ladies. Hi, Faith from London. Hi. England. Hello. And Cyndi, tell everybody where you're from. It's north.
I am from Marblehead, Massachusetts, just north of Boston.
North. You're parking the car in the dooryard, are you?
You are.
And in north of you, you can go to Bar Harbor. Oh boy, that's bad.
Yeah.
And then, Rach, you're from up that area too, aren't you?
I am. I'm not far. I'm in Amherst, New Hampshire.
This is weird, you guys. So I grew up in New Hampshire too. I didn't realize we had, we could be cussing up a storm, but we are so going to try to behave, we Yankees. Keep us straight.
Well, it's interesting because I'm from England originally. Oh. I was born in England.
You guys, this is unrehearsed. So what is different? What is different about this? Many times when you guys, we've talked about this. We are a close family. Sounds like I'm blowing smoke, but many compilation books, I've told you this before. When radio shows go out to interview you guys, many of the authors are just meeting each other for the very first time. So like Rachel would be going, "Oh, Faith, nice to meet you. I read your story yesterday." And that's usually how it goes, frankly. I'm a host and I've interviewed compilation authors before. And I wanted to do this different. Markus and I said, we're going to do it differently. We want to pick people we want to play with. We want to connect with their heart, and we want them to meet each other. So you guys that are listening, I want you to know we all of the authors, we know each other. We are in a private Facebook site. We interact. We know what each other, we're getting to know each other. We have common, we've had several Zooms together. And so that's why we're here. That's why we're different. Okay, I'm going to read some of my stuff. So in this book, we have 4 chapters. 4 chapters. As I said, heart, spirit, mind, and body. So what does that mean? We have 24 actually different spokes, kind of areas of health and wellness that these guys could write their stories about. And no matter what it's written about, we're going to find a home in one of these 4 chapters. What's really important is we've got a super cool dude writing our foreword, James Redfield. It's kind of a big deal. He wrote the Celestine prophecy. So that's how Cyndi found me. She was so sweet. She's like, "Yo, Chica, saw you on LinkedIn. What's up? Don't know who you are. Don't care. Saw James Redfield's name. Carried his book like the Bible. So like I'm in." It was kind of like that.
Yeah, it was.
It's kind of like that. All right, you guys, I'm going to tease you with a little bit of one of my stories in the book. And so here you go. I hope you enjoy it. I took an 18-month medical leave. It was not by choice. I gave up a 14-year career at a company where I had once earned a national award for one of my wellness programs. And I took a sabbatical from personal training. I retreated from family and friends, and I hunkered down on the couch watching repeats of Dr. Phil and Judge Judy. I was prescribed 9 medications from a handful of providers. At one point, I needed to make a trip to see my family, and in my delirium, I was unable to navigate through the airport, leaving my 11-year-old son to guide me. I was stoic, dazed, and wasn't quite sure I wanted to live. I have journals from that time period, and the entries look like I am 2 separate beings. One of the handwritings is a scribble I do not even recognize. There are different slants, unmatched vocabulary, and various colors. The journals actually creep me out. On too many occasions to count, I grabbed a knife and would sneak around the house, closet to closet, looking for the dark shadow who kept trying to hurt me. Then I would lay on the bed and process ways to cash out. Unless you have been there, you don't get it. You probably think, how selfish could you possibly be? But when you are in so much pain and it is dark and you just want to escape the heaviness you're feeling in such despair. I wish I would have two reoccurring visions during this time. One was of my sons finding me after I successfully had hurt myself. And the other vision was of me lying in a hospital bed, barely hanging on, and my own dark spirit lurking over my head, whispering wickedly, see, you can't even kill yourself correctly. Whoa, deep shit. And what we also want to remind everybody, these are true stories. They're not made up. They're not, you know, Harry Potter-ish. These are very true stories, and that's a glimpse into one of mine. Cathartic as hell, you guys. Like I didn't even plan to start writing that. I was going to start with like an eating disorder or something, right? So that was really emotional for me. All right, let's see. Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Okay, let's hear a little bit about yours, Rachel.
Okay. I found that it wasn't just diets that wrecked my metabolism and my mental health. Life likes to throw you curveballs. Mine was in the form of a toxic relationship, driving the need to soothe myself emotionally with food and give in to the trifecta. The fatso, sugar tooth, and cookie jar gene ignited. I met my first real boyfriend in my 20s when I was at my lowest weight. Once we started to live together, the emotional taunts began. To stuff down my emotions, I ate. As my self-esteem dropped, my weight increased, and more crash diets followed. I remember my friend saying to me, drop that dead weight, and you'll probably find the other weight will come off too. Eventually, I dropped him and found a healthier relationship. Even dropping him didn't shift the fat permanently. I've attempted so many different diets, I've lost count. Shakes, puddings, pills, high fat, low fat, high carb, high protein. With every fad diet, a weight loss guru, I had hope. I once took a pill that claimed to expand in my stomach to make me feel full. It got stuck in my throat. I remember thinking, oh my God, here I am trying to lose weight and I'm going to choke to death. In desperation, many of us will consider insane strategies, outrageous projects, and even go under the knife to shed the extra weight.
You know, the blessing I've had, you guys, is I've held every one of your stories in my hand, you know, as the front editor of these stories. I mean, they shake the shit out of you. And I just was like, oh, I'm just going to do some English here and type away. And then, I mean, there are a couple stories where I just was rolling up on a ball on the floor, just like, I'm not kidding. So I can't wait for all of this stuff to get in everybody's hands. Cyndi, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay.
Where am I? He said, startled and confused. I looked up at his face, a bit startled myself. Geez, Dad, you look great. He smiled and straightened his coat. I noticed we were no longer in the nursing home. We were in an empty room. There was no furniture, just an eerie quiet. The walls were stark white, like that of a fresh canvas awaiting color. The light was very bright, but it did not hurt my eyes. A soft, gentle breeze caressed my face. There was the smell of spring in the air. As he wriggled in his body, he exclaimed, I feel great too. He appeared as a much younger man. I was immediately aware we were in the space between. Dressed in faded blue jeans and a bright white t-shirt with a loose-fitting leather brown jacket. He was the picture of health. His hair, a soft shade of chestnut brown, neatly combed back with that signature wave in the front. My mother loved that so much about his appearance, a kind of Fonzie-like look for those who remember the sitcom Happy Days. Dad was not Henry Winkler's version of the Fonz, but he was as handsome. Look in the mirror, I told him. I think you will like what you see. As if on cue, a mirror appeared on the wall behind him. He gazed curiously at his reflection. Wow, he said, staggering back. I knew something had shifted for him. He was now conscious as the younger version of himself, and not the elderly man that is my father. Cool.
So amazing how many of these are like they're in us and we start typing away. I mean, everybody says, oh, writing can be cathartic, but I mean, it like literally is. And you don't think you can come up with the details, and all of a sudden the colors are there and the people, and you can just see things so clearly. Wow. Okay. Faith, are you ready?
As the weeks passed, his behaviour worsened. He talked over me and laughed if I stuttered my words. His criticism was incessant. When he wasn't working, he was either drunk or on the computer. Things came to a head when my daughter was only 8 weeks old. I knew I needed help. Professionals, of course, recommended antidepressants and counselling. He refused to let me have either. I will never forget how sarcastically he said, "Oh, I thought you were stronger than that. You should be able to deal with this on your own." January the 7th, 2006 is embedded in my mind. My daughter and I were going shopping for bin bags. He staggered downstairs, still drunk from the night before, demanding his daughter stay with him. And that wasn't happening with him in that state. Things quickly escalated. With one hand, he grabbed my arm and tried to take my car keys. With his other hand, he grabbed my daughter, trying to pull her from my arms. With his other hand, he grabbed me, so I released the key so that he would let my daughter go. He screamed, "You'll never take her from me. I'll kill you first," and stormed upstairs.
It just does the emotional thing. Like just with your 3 stories, I've had goosebumps on my arms. I felt a heavy chest, tears in my eyes. Oh boy. So why did you guys want to do this? Rachel, do you remember when you first kind of heard about the book? What were your thoughts on why you decided to take this journey with us?
Yeah, well, one, I'd never really done anything like this before, and I thought this would be a great way to do it, like to be with a lot of other people and collaborate on something, that it would be a good entryway into telling a story. I hadn't really even thought what my story would be when I was first approached about it. I even thought, like, do I even have a story to tell? And it just really, I thought, well, I'll have a go and see what comes up.
It's a big step, but it's such a great way to get your feet wet, or even like we've said with other authors, right? It's like repurpose something just to come in a different way to meet other people. I mean, how many other chances do you have to meet 30 other people and take the same journey? Seriously, like I can't wait to fly around and do book signings. I mean, once gas prices go down, that is. Cyndi, what were your thoughts when you were like trying to decide whether to do this? Because you're a blogger anyways, you're a writer.
Right. I've been writing for quite a while, my own personal stories. I first started on LinkedIn. I'd been out there for several years, connected to many different writers groups. They seemed to be, I found my tribe, so it was wonderful. It was a wonderful supportive community. And then I connected with Dennis on BizCast 360, and things just took off from there in the writing department. And then I saw your link come through BizCast, and same thing. I thought, what a great way to get my feet wet, get familiar with some other media partners, because the idea of writing a book has always been there in the back of my mind, but I was always terrified, like, I don't know anything about this. Who do I connect with? So for me, that was my purpose. I'm like, I just really need to kind of take baby steps and get to know some people in the business, and your energy just like reeled me right in. I'm like, yep, that's the girl right there.
Where's my bullshit buzzer? Oh, it's right here.
Ding, 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 ding.
Right there.
She paid me, girls. No.
I think I still do have those old things called checkbooks. Do we still use those? I think I do have a couple. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, I've been wanting to write. I wrote a children's book and I'm working on a children's book, and I always wanted I'm still going to do mine by myself eventually, but playing with other people, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, it's a different game, especially when we have the 7 media partners that we do. And it's really cool when you let people be their own experts, right? Because when you're starting your own business, if you're an entrepreneur or even as a writer, all of a sudden you're looking, who's my agent? Who's my editor? Will the publishing company take? And that's a scary journey on your own. And so when you can kind of coattail, dovetail-ish on the, tails of these other experts and let them be the marketers and the publishers and the radio show hosts as you sit back and learn, that's a really cool, way to kind of play along. Faith, what about you? What were some of your thoughts initially?
I think initially it was a fabulous project, but I think myself, I never saw myself as a writer, but it was a way for me to put my voice out there and sort of move, and for me to revisit something and see how far I'd come with it. Because I think we've all got sort of different stories inside of us, but we do almost forget a lot of the things and still we go back and revisit it. And it was a good way to sort of like just see how far I've come from there and possibly just share that with other people.
Sounds really simple sentence, you guys, when we say that our stories change lives and save lives and change our own lives. Just a quick story I'll tell you off another LinkedIn post I had in December of a year ago. I just was making a post for a project that I had going. And while I had a client on my call, Zoom call, I think it was the next day, I saw my phone light up. And it was a gentleman who found me through my phone number, through wherever. And I usually don't answer spam calls, of course, but there was something pulling in me and I was like, I don't know what it was. And I looked at it just while I had the client on. I said, whoa, just a second. I looked at it and it said, I just saw your post on LinkedIn. I think you've saved my life. Will you please call me? And I was like, oh my God. So I reached my text, I paused and I said, I will call you right back. And I called him right back and he was suicidal. And I ended up working with him and it was off of a post, you guys. So same kind of thing, right? Your story will change lives. Somebody will hear it. Somebody will connect with it. And I'm so proud of you for going public and sharing a little bit of it. All right, let me tie this up for everybody. So the book is we're hoping to launch it in early to midsummer. You're going to see these guys' face. Please support it. Reach out to us. We can connect anybody together. If you want to ask them questions, emails, we can get everybody connected. If you have any questions, you can find me at Peggy@allthingswellness.com or any of the social media platforms. And I'm going to give you guys a big shout out. Thank you. Bye, ladies.
Bye, everyone.